Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to our Dane Arts DABL Workshop Wednesdays. We're really excited to have you with us today. This workshop is brought to you by Dane Arts, and that is the Dane County Art and Cultural Affairs Commission. And they are an amazing organization. We will share more about them as we go. But they are in the heart of county government, and we appreciate the county support in running these artist workshops. So without further ado, I'm excited to have you with us. And we are here to learn about our Podcamp and How I've Run My Mouth for a Living by Michael Penn II. He is going to be sharing a lot of awesome information with us today. Michael is a 26-year-old rapper, songwriter, and cultural critic from Fort Washington, Maryland. He's currently based in Chicago. He released music under the name Crash Prez and a third of the rap group Def Prez. As a writer, Penn currently works at VMP as a senior staff writer and host and executive producer of the Good Convo podcast. As a performer, he's shared a stage with Chance the Rapper, Saba, Danny Brown, JPEG Mafia, among many others. His written work has also appeared in Vice, The Fodder, and Mike, among many others. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Michael Penn II.
What's good with y'all? I said that like you could reply. SMH. Let me get in the chat right quick. Chat, let me get a year. If you want me, let me get a year in the chat right now. Let's go. Year. Fire. This is great. Y'all see this room behind me? I'm like in an Airbnb in New Jersey right now because staying in Philly is too much it costs too much money. That's why I look all nondescript. I feel like I'm in like purgatory or something. You see, there's nothing going on. It's not giving anything. Oh, who in Philly right now? Shout out to you, Sarah. It's lit. It's everyone's aggressive. The drivers are hella aggressive. This shit is crazy. Yeah, nah. I curse a lot. I'm gonna try not to. You know, I know we got like a mixed balance, John. So yeah, just like that. This is Podcamp. You know, it's a 101 thing, and it's coming from the perspective of somebody who was still kind of a rookie at this shit. I'm doing it right now, real time. So I'm just hoping to take y'all through how I got there, what I like to do with mine, and how I fucked it up royally over the course of this past year. Yeah, so when you say anything, my name is Michael Penn II. I'm 26. I'm an Aquarius. I'm from Maryland. I live in Chicago. I went to UW-Madison. I was in the first wave program. I went to the J school as well. I wrote for the Cardinal. That was the first experience I had with journalistic writing. You know, like, I know it's kind of cliche, like you get in there, it's the first day of undergrad and you go to the paper, but there was an assignment in Madison to find somebody in just the general vicinity, the general area, that was doing work that you would want to do if you had a career in journalism. And because of that, I met my current boss, current editor, Andrew Winnestorfer. And back then he was working like as a general manager at like the Badger Market at Union South. And he was from the blog era, you know, this is back when like, you know, blogs were super huge, you know, music criticism, just day-to-day stuff. And he was the only person I could find in the area that was writing rap criticism at all, like especially like the Isthmus or something. I'm like, nobody was writing about rap like that. So I'm like, okay, I didn't know who this was, but I'm gonna go see about it. And like most people out of J school, you're like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I gonna do? How am I gonna make money? Where's the jobs at? Where they at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's hella loud. Let me cool out. You like, do I need to go like pick this is like $5 an hour. I could do this shit at the house. I could figure it out. So I quit, and 2016 came around, and it was February, I'm pretty sure. And Stork took me to lunch at Popeyes in a company car, and he was like, I had this editor job at this company. I didn't know what the hell Buy Me Please was. And he said, I'm going to put you in the freelance pool. I'm going to start giving you assignments, like start turning up for me. I said, okay, bet. First couple of things I wrote. Within like the first 5 pieces I wrote for VMP, I was about to get people pissed off. If you look at my Twitter header right now, you will see the sort of trouble I was making. I wrote I had like a white rapper series that got canceled hella fast. I wrote like a concert review of Future because Future had his first stop of a tour in Madison randomly from, I don't know why they started it and routed it there. Yeah, I was just starting to get in the habit of just like sending off pitches, and VMP became like the primary client that I was freelancing with. And so for the next like 2.5 years, I just kept shooting shit off to VMP over and over, like pieces, reviews, OB strips, like all types of different stuff. Not to mention, I was also doing a lot of hyper local stuff. Like I had an essay series in Tone Madison. Eventually, I had left Madison in 20. By choice because I'm very hard headed. I just wanted to keep my freedom, keep my luxury of my time because I treat that shit like, that shit is important to me, and moving around is important to me. And eventually I went to South by Southwest, and they had a job for me. VMP hired me on as a staff writer that May, and I have been on staff since May 2017. Is it 17? 18, I'm tripping. So yeah, since you could be brilliant and be on Twitter with your email address next week if somebody decides to cut you out. So the fact that I even found a job and found a job doing like the shit that I knew I wanted to get into was crazy, while still pursuing my artistry, while still, building my way through that, like as an independent artist. I make music under the name Crash Press. So the bulk of my professional career has been navigating this weird in-between space between artistry and rappers or just cover artists in general. So all that graduates into where I'm at. Um, how did I end up with this pod? I came from a big profile background, because I knew like criticism wasn't necessarily the thing that VMP was into, because the way our editorial is set up, it's connected to, a record club, like we sell records. So a lot of the stuff that I was doing was covering folks that we were selling records of, which is how I got to talk to people like Missy Elliott, which is how I got to talk to people like Moses Sumney. So it granted me a certain level of access and connectivity to do what I do best. Like they have me here to handle content, to give people in-depth profiles that people want to read and want to engage with, and let artists tell the stories from their own, their own vein, and then we put it in context of what's going on generally. Like that's what I aim to go for. So eventually it kind of got stale to me, and I was like, we're at the point now where podcasting is damn near like the new mixtape and shit. Like everyone's like, you have a podcast? Like, oh, word, like I got a SoundCloud link. Like me and my friends talk about it. Like we on Spotify too. Like we on Stitcher, we're on this, we're on that. And as disheartening as that can be for folks, like, to be overwhelmed and drowning in everything, it's like I'm used to that shit. Like I've been rapping since I was 13 years old. So like I'm used to like just the mediums changing. I'm used to the joke about the file sharing site changing, like none of that's new to me. So we had a variation of a podcast that a man named Tyler used to run at VMP when he was involved. And this is kind of like a revitalization of that as an idea, but it's with my own spin on it, my own twist. So because like my strength is interviewing and my passion is interviewing and profiles in particular, I wanted to translate the sort of experiences that I was having in the Google Doc, like I like interviewed Denzel Curry after Triple X got killed. That same year, I talked to Rico Nasty right when she's starting to get her big climb, and Nasty came out and went to LA and talked to her. Like all these are like really formative experiences in my growth as a writer over the past I guess 5 years out of college. But I wanted to switch it up. I wanted to get into a new medium, and podcasting was starting to be open, and we already had a variation of. I ain't shit without my team. I'm nothing without my team. My team's in the chat right now. Amelia Sutliff, Jonah Graber are in the chat right now. I'm not shit without my team, period. Amelia keeps me organized, keeps me accountable, helps book things. Jonah mixes the shit. I can't audio engineer what the fuck. I tried when I was like in DIY trying to mix my friend's shit and being in Photoshop. I can't do that shit. It gives me a headache. I used to produce. It gives me a headache. Jonah is good at that shit. You ain't shit without a team. If you want to start a podcast, you ain't shit without a team. Get you a team. Get you a team. If you don't have money, you have effort. Nobody's getting money, but a lot of effort hopefully can lead you to some money. Get you a team established. The things that you were the strongest at, put that up top. The things that you are weaker at and that you can grow with, surround yourself with people who are doing the shit that you wish you could do. Intimidation is one thing. Jealousy is one thing, but it's what you do with those emotions. If you look over at somebody doing some type of project that you're doing and they're doing it way crazier, like it's natural to feel a certain type of way. Like there's plenty of moments where I like feel like in the media space or in the music space at the same time. It's the same root of frustration. It's like, damn, like I put my back into this shit. Me and my friends put our backs into this shit. And so many folks I know are so talented and so broke. Like it makes me so fucking mad. But it's what you do with that emotion that can fuel you into the next thing, can push you onward to keep getting better. And if there's somebody around you that's, willing to be around you that's good at some shit, you surround them. You bring them in and you, not surround, that sounds violent as fuck. No, you surround yourself around them. And you actually want to focus on being fucking amazing at one or two things. And I'm going to surround myself with people who are great at the things that I'm not good at so I can learn from them and they can help us all shine together. So Amelia and Joni, I love you both. Next note. I'm here where I'm at because I study. Since I was a youngin', if I'm not listening to rap, trying to make rap, I'm listening to people talk about it. At one point, I interned at Hot 97 through the First Wave program. We had a pilot program to send 2 interns every summer. And me and Daniel Kaplan, who used to go by Lord of the Fly, goes by Groupthink now. Brilliant artist, great thinker, great advertiser too. We both went in the summer of 2014, which was a crazy summer. It was the summer Hot Nigga was huge. It was the summer that Angie Martinez left. It was Mr. C was still around and bought me jerk chicken. Shit was crazy. But like, I just kind of got to see the ends of what working at a radio station looked like. And the reason why I was in the position to get that is because all I do is watch interviews. Like if you look at my YouTube algorithm, it's interview, song, interview, song. Like I'm watching Hot 97. I'm watching Breakfast Club. I watch No John. Adam 22 is a fucking scumbag, but he talks to people I want to hear. So this is getting published, huh? Oh, fuck it. Yeah, fuck him. But like he talks to people. Say Cheese. Talk to Passion of the Weiss, DJ Booth. Like I'm reading and I'm consuming the media of it too. Like it's framing perception. It's reading writers that I'm a huge fan of and I can learn from. And that's what put me in position to even want to do a podcast and to even compete in this space to where I feel like I'm operating on a level of the people that I'm a fan of because I study it. I listen and watch and read way more than I consume, way more than I practice, way more than I put up songs. Like you need to study it. You need to get right there because you study. So first note, you ain't shit without a team and you're here because you study. Next one, find your flock. It's very important. This is something I struggle with a lot. It's one thing to try to create an experience, a product, a song, an album, something you're trying to put into the marketplace of ideas with people. It's one thing to feel like you're going for something that's singular, something that you need to focus on finding the communities around, whether it's digital and physical, ideally both. Ideally both. We're in COVID. I hope you're not physical. I traveled in a car. I get tested a lot. Get swabbed a lot. But you got to find the people that are like you and you got to find the people that can push you. You got to find the people, same sort of dynamic, same sort of principle. Like just to speak on that, like I just texted my homie, send him aside. That's Dylan Green. Go read Dylan Green's work. A lot of it is on DJ Booth. He's got a lot of stuff on Complex. Send him aside. That's my brother. He's in Jersey somewhere. I can't go get to him. I'm not even driving the car, but one of many people that I've utilized Twitter and Instagram to just connect with because we're all doing like the same shit and we're all fucked up in the game trying to make sure we get what we deserve. And Dylan is a person I love dearly too, and I barely know the man. I've met him a couple times. I remember we kicked him in Brooklyn not too long ago. So just to recap, I ain't shit without my team. Here because I study, find your flock. Surround yourself with people that you try and get like, that you can learn from, that your work is in direct conversation with those other people. You don't got to be the exact same way. You don't have to think the same way as everybody around you. But you need iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. I say the R. Weird. I don't know what's up. I don't got no accent for real. Okay. So good combo in itself as a concept. I just want to give good interviews, yo. I feel like with all the folks that I mentioned that I watch, like I watch the whole landscape of things, whether it's popular or not, just to see how people are participating in the space. I watch it all because I want to know the information. I want to get more into artists. I want to like see where people are coming from with it. Even people I don't like I'm going to study that shit up close to see why other folks like it, which is a trend I would hope you would get on. Like that's a skill that's necessary. Even if some shit is easy to reconcile with something that you despise, if you can understand it, like whether that's a personality you don't like, whether that's an artist you can't stand, every time you hear their song you want like this, it's important, like look around, see where that's coming from. But to where good combo fits, I just feel like I wanted to have something that was not just centered around gossip and bullshit. I feel like a lot of hip hop media is bullshit and it's like glorified PR where there's no feeling in it, which I mean, I guess people could put me in a similar lane because I work for a vinyl company, but like the work that I'm trying to do, it's not just leaning back, kicking it, not talking about nothing. You have people sitting in these offices or sitting in radio stations or sitting in podcast studios for 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours at a time. None of it is about the music. It's all about the spectacle of it. Spectacle is like part of pop culture, but I want to talk about what the hell we're doing. I want to talk about why we put these on. I want to talk about like why you get on stage and why you tee up. Like that's the shit that interests me and people like me. Like as a person who does this shit and a person who studies the game, I want to bring that into the podcast space, like especially for hip hop. I think there's plenty of people doing that right now. Like Naj. White homie, shout out Paul Thompson, shout out Jeff Weiss, you know what I'm saying? We're not going, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I really want a good combo to be. So let me take y'all into the first episode. The first episode, which is just like an example of leveraging the connections that you have. So we did a project with Claire. We put out her stuff on vinyl. I'm pretty sure it was Immunity. It was Immunity. And we were talking with JPEG's people and nothing really panned out. But the first episode, Amelia had the brilliant idea to get Claro and JPEG Mafia in the same episode in conversation with each other because they were both playing Pitchfork. I'm pretty sure it was even the same day, maybe. And their fandoms were already crossed over because like they had publicized that they were friends. You know, they've hinted that they've had work together, and like the internet goes crazy for it. So Amelia was 2013. He was Devon Hendricks. Like we didn't even meet until he started getting popular. But like I used my personal relationship with him and the fact that we were already in communication with his team and the fact that BNP was in communication with Claro's team to pitch the idea. It took like 10-person email threads. It took all kind of shit. But we went to Pitchfork and it happened. It was me, Claro, Peggy, Amelia, and Jonah in the tent, in the media tent. Like didn't even have no pro setup, no extra shit. It was just like a recorder. Like Jonah went in there and we did it. And it was great. It was great. Everybody was happy. Teams were happy. You know, artists were happy. There's even a weird moment where like somebody who had nothing to do with the podcast decided to like apologize to. And let me take you into the first day. Like this is an important point to me. So the first day of Good Combo. You know how you're about to embark on a new journey, a new project. Jonas said you could find that photo. Yeah, Jonas, text me with that. Yeah, I want to see that shit. So it's like, you know, you got to present a class project the next day, but to the rest of the world that can reflect on like the permanent record of your professional career. You feel me? Like I had a feeling in my gut, like that something was gonna go wrong. Like I ate a lot of fast food, I got a gut, like I could feel it there. You know what I'm saying? Like next to the McNuggets that was chewing there, like something was gonna go left. I could feel it. Couldn't name it, but I could feel it. Next day, I wake up. I can't even go. The next day, I wake up to somebody who that I was in community with. I am in community with still. Like, you know, there's no issue with them or anything, but you know what happened, so I can talk about it. He messaged me on Instagram accusing me and my team of stealing his entire podcast idea from him because we had two people in conversation with each other and used the phrase in conversation when advertising it. He even went on to accuse us and say that we stole his blog formatting, like the way we wrote the blog post, the blog copy. He said that because of his two people there, it's like his whole format because his format is artists talking to each other, which is, you know, a podcast. But I had to feel this message. Like I woke up with my feelings confirmed. Like this is not going to go fucking smooth. Somebody's going to have some. Like condescending to me, like, you know, I always supported you, but you know, you and your team need to go back to the drawing board and come up with something more original. And we almost went public with this. Everybody in my work Slack was like, what the hell is going on? But you know, I wouldn't do that to you, but we almost went public with it when you have nothing to go public with. So I could have just burnt it, could have burnt the bridge off, could have said, fuck him. I did. I played a lot of, I played if you're reading this, it's too late from the beginning in the shower and just like charged my way through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just I let it go. I played pitch, the graphic looked cool. My homie Caleb did the graphic, Caleb Vanderbilt, shout out to him. And yeah, like Amelia was right. Her intuition was right. It paid mistakes you can make with this podcast and shit, right? First and Like the first episode, scroll to the bottom of the page when you go look up Good Combo. That Jonah tried his damnedest, but it was a field recorder in immediate tent. So that tech is super important. Check your tech. Another example about checking your tech. Recently, I did an episode with one of my best friends. I'm going to have to redo the episode. You know why that's the case? Because was turned, so it was unusable, and we have to throw it out and do it over. Check your tech, yo. Check it. It's important. Check it. Don't fuck that up. Don't end up losing something that was preventable because you could have double checked. I triple checked that shit now. I just recorded an episode before I got on here. Like literally recorded one, and I check it 3 times. To yourself and the people around you to ensure things are going. The person from email to the window. I conduct the interview, I study, I do what I'm supposed to do. I procure the files. Jonah has my login. He goes in, downloads the files, mixes them in a timely manner, sends it back around. We figure out the rest of the strategy shit where it goes in the calendar. Now we have that. It's organization. Is it perfect? No. Do I hate checking emails? Fuck yeah, don't you? But we have a system together. We're working as a unit. That's why I ain't shit without my team. That's why we're at 20 episodes right now. That's why it's not a fucking failure. Also, in general marketing around podcasts, you need to be direct about what you're about and how you are about it. If you want to be on some gossipy shit and get quicker clicks than people who give less of a fuck about that and more about the craft itself, you can do that. And you can run that. If you can run that race and keep up with that and have to always be beholden to the timeline to be the first to do something, that is you. If you're on some slower shit and you want to get more into the depths of things, that is your shit. You know who you are. You got to know where you stand with it. Be direct about it. Be direct about what you are about and how you are about it. Like this image is important. Like so much of this industry is based around perception. You have to know how you look to other people. You can't put some shit up that's a mess. You can't put up an episode where your back was turned because you didn't have the setting correct. You can't have a mix come back and it sounds fucking awful. It's not gonna go. It's not gonna fly. Like once you establish a quality level, you have some room to fuck up in the beginning. But once you keep elevating that to the point where you're functioning on a level that's coherent, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't keep information is great, but maybe this week he didn't give a fuck. He didn't study enough, or oh, there was gaps in the conversation that was awkward, or why can't I hear this person? This is fucking awkward. This is terrible. I can't hear it. People notice that shit the same way you do. Like scrutinize that. Be careful with that. Be direct. So those are mistakes that you can easily solve. Check your tech. This you can even go back and listen. Like the quality fluctuated way more than any of us wished it did because we go from our first episode being off of a field recorder in a fucking media tent at a major festival with music playing everywhere. Like we with me and we really unearthed something together, you know, help them guide them through that. They guided me through it. We did studio stuff. That was going good. Then coronavirus hit. So we actually transitioned into a live stream format. We were using Crowdcast, I believe. And so BNP was doing like DJ mixes, good convo episodes, et cetera, like Q&As, things like that. And it transitioned into that setting. So then I went from being face to face to having to rip audio from a live stream where we're both on video in different places. And I'm like holding this mic in my lap, like making sure I don't drop it. And podcast one was called Zencaster. Um, Zencaster, you can't even see who you're talking to, but you have to get somebody from wherever their setup is, wherever they are in the world, to come into this window. Then you have to check your shit. Then you have to make sure everybody has enough space on their computer. Then you got to pray that the Wi-Fi doesn't go out. Then you conduct the interview, check your settings first. You conduct the interview. And at the end of it, the most important part, you have to sit and wait in the window until the audio processes back around. So whoever's going to mix it down can download it from there. Like people have to stay on the connection after the interview is conducted. And you have to wait there until it uploads back on your end. Funny story about that. One time, somebody I'm not even gonna name the shit. I interviewed somebody. I asked him a pretty critical question, which I think was still pretty easy. And it wasn't an attack or nothing. It was just like a genuine question because something about it threw me off. And I could tell the tone in the interview like changed right then and there, even though like it wasn't offensive and I wasn't like aggressive about it. I just kept it a bean. And the interview's over with. I end it. He leaves the call. I'm thinking, fuck, his connection died. Fuck, something happened. We email his team over. Shit. We email his team over and over again to make sure this shit is together. He never went back and recovered it because I asked him a critical question. Like, there's no other logical reason for it. That has to be it. Usually, like, it was ugly. But you know, you can't really control that, and yeah, you wasted both of our time, so don't even worry about that. I say all that to say, now I have a hang of Zencaster. So, being in a media space, being in a podcast space, you have to be adaptable. You have to be adaptable. Versatility is paramount. Versatility is key. You need to know what you're doing out here. You need to know how to do it a million different ways. I've done interviews with no notes. I've done interviews where I've gotten a confirmation and then flipped it around within 48 hours. I've done shit where I've had weeks to prepare. I've done interviews with folks who have an EP out. I've done interviews with folks who have been performing for 20 years. Like, you need to really develop the range for real if you want to hang with people in this space that's so crowded. You need to be adaptable. You need to that you're doing something in the one medium, whether it's just like on a mic on a Zencaster, like switch it up. Maybe do some video shit. Maybe try doing a live. Like there's so much potential out here, and there's so many tools at our disposal to do something that people aren't necessarily doing. Like if you're paying attention to that, a good podcaster, you can play well in the arena and play ball with everybody else. Somebody who's ahead, who's forward thinking, is paying attention to all the ways that other folks are not utilizing this. Like you try to be on it. You can be on trend or you can be ahead of it. You got to pay attention. It's super competitive. Everybody wants to do this. So be versatile, be adaptable. I think it's time for a story. I'm going to tell a story. So this year before COVID hit, well, it actually hit already, but you know, we didn't know that yet because this fucking country. Regardless, I was sent out to LA to do a podcast with LP in the reissue of I'll Sleep When You're Dead. He just finally put it on streaming services, got the rights together with the label, et cetera, et cetera. So I was sent to LA to do that. And he pushed it back 2 days because a scheduling conflict came up. So I had to stay in LA a little bit longer than I was going to. I was going to do that anyway. It's what I do in LA, you feel me? But I stayed on and we switched it up. So I had to switch Airbnbs and all that. The morning I wake up to go do the recording after, you know, like binging information, processing it, trying to figure out what to ask him that hasn't been talked about in the decade that this record has existed, you know what I'm saying? Decade plus. I wake up in Silver Lake and all I see on my feed is that Pop Smoke, the rapper Pop Smoke, got murdered in Hollywood. So every time rappers die, every time rappers get killed, it's like I don't have to know this person to know exactly what that feels like. You know, I've lost friends in this shit. Thankfully, not like that, but I've lost friends in pretty fucked up ways. So it's like you're in community with people you don't even know sometimes. So the fact that y'all both deliver this podcast to LP when California in general doesn't fucking feel the same because Pop Smoke just got killed like somewhere, like 20 minutes from where the fuck I was staying at. So like, it's not about me obviously, but it was a fucking weird way to wake up. You know, woke up to people dying a lot of ways, especially rappers. So we go rendezvous up, and we're standing in this elevator. You know, like we meet outside. You know, LP Jamie's really cool. And I go in the elevator, he's asking me how my day is going. I'm just like, man, like, I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I'm pretty fucked up off Pop getting killed. Like, that's fucked up. Like the night before, I was at a Wiki show at the Moroccan Lounge. He was talking about Pop Smoke and how raw Pop Smoke was. The next day, he's dead. You know, so LP was like, yeah, it really fucked me up too. Hey, we don't have to do this if you don't want to do this. I'm like, nah, I feel like we should. And there was this woman on the elevator. She turned around to ask us what we were talking about. We didn't even fill her in because we're like, nah, we don't want to fuck up your day. So we go in, we do the episode, and we discuss it. We talk through it together. Um, he handled it like a champ. Like he was just really fucking empathetic dude. Didn't know what to expect of him as a person at all, but like super solid, like very engaged, very like insightful, really insightful. And that episode is still probably one of my favorites in the catalog for real. And just like the experience is still like so salient in my mind as a podcaster, as a media person, of how to go through that to where it's like, damn, like I have these feelings and I want to reconcile with them. You know, I don't know this man at all or the circumstances at all, but like as a person who participates in this and who lives this, it's like there's a weight to that, but you don't want to over center that to make it seem like you're trying to use this as a moment to come off and cloud up off somebody else. Like you're not trying to rush towards a headline. I'll give you a more direct example of that. Recently, and people don't really know this for real, but oh shit, what did I just do? Oh my bad, y'all. I just did the Mac thing where it like switch desktops. There we go. We back. So yeah, like I had recently you know what? I don't even need to speak on that. No, I'm good on that. I'm just not gonna speak on that. Yeah, I don't mean to be a cliffhanger. I hate when people do shit like that, but it's not important. Yeah, the LP story is crazy. So let me just jump right ahead to that. Yeah, my apologies for that. Goals for the future. I don't know. Like, do we have a future? Like, November's popping up. Who the fuck knows what's about to happen? Like, do we have a future? But I don't know, you know. From recording my first episode in, what was it, July last year? And 2020 is almost over with. Sky's the limit for real. And then some. Sky's not even the limit. Like, you know, telling where me, Amelia, and Jonah can take it. Like, it's just such a open concept to me, and it's so malleable in the ways that we can proceed and the people we can talk to and the caliber of guests we can have on, whether they got 100 followers or 100,000 or 10 million. Like, it's just the approach, the same approach. Like, I want to get quality out of people. I want people to feel comfortable enough to tell their stories. I want to facilitate a space where we talking about the music and we talking about life and we talking about all of it together. You know, I want people to trust me. Interviews are nothing but performances. The performances, like that being said, people are talking to me because we're selling their record, or they want publicity for a record, or you know, they want to craft a narrative around what they're doing in their work because you have to interface with the public to some degree. And I understand that that's a performance in itself, but like my goal is to put them in a place where they trust what we're doing and they trust themselves enough to be open and be vulnerable, even if I've never talked to them before, because they know what this could do for themselves and the clarity that I could gain, the clarity they could gain, and the clarity they could give to someone else for the exact same reason why they're publishing music for other people to hear, you know, to glean something from that, to gain something from that. So as far as where good convo can go, I have absolutely no clue. It'd be great to get on an airplane and sneeze openly. That'd be fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, Like that will be, you know, middle seats. Get that back, we might be on something. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't been on the plane yet, but podcasting, y'all, is power in this. It's a powerful medium. There's crazy potential in this. It's still so new. We don't know where the hell it's going. We see people making 6 figures off it. We see people on Patreon. I have a job and now I have a podcast. There's no telling where any of this can go. It's still super early. So, you know, if I were to give you any notes on it, it's just, like I said earlier, like don't let yourself drown in it. Don't let yourself get discouraged by the fact that so many folks are trying it, so many folks are doing it, and people are more popping than you or whatever the case may be. Like, you just have to focus right now on finding the people that like you, that care about what you're doing and the way you're doing it. You got to be direct about what you're about and how you're about it. And the rest of that shit will fill itself out with the right amount of work, with the right amount of expertise, with the right amount of care, of intentionality, especially. You don't need everyone at first. You just need the folks who care. There's really no telling. Like this shit could grow as the world changes. And there's a really powerful opportunity that we all have to contribute something to this, you know, to contribute our voices, to contribute, help other people contribute theirs, facilitate theirs. That's really why I do this shit. It's the only reason why I do media, especially now at this point. Like I want to tell the stories. I want to, like the ones that are real, that are nourishing, you know, that have depth to that shit. I don't want to just sit and gossip and bullshit all day. There's a time and a place. That's fun too, you know, even in like there's a really colloquial, like open field in my podcast. Like when I curse right now, you can curse on my podcast if you would guest on it. Like we talk about everything. Like, we can talk about like we can talk about getting whoopings as kids. We can talk about what fast food is fire. We can talk about trauma. We can talk about New York. We can talk about all kind of shit. Like it's not just by the numbers, strict like question answer, copy paste. I don't play like that. I don't do like that. I'm talking to people. Like I'm on a podcast talking like it's just you and me. Like for real, that's all I want to do. Like when I say I run my mouth for a living, like I'm dead ass. It's all I wanted to do in my life. Now I'm stuck with it. You feel me? Like no matter what medium that comes in, I'm stuck with this shit and I'm gonna do this shit. Like to some degree, I've already won. I got here. I didn't intern in New York or LA, other than like the High 97 thing, but I didn't have like a major journalism internship. I didn't have a job straight out of J school. I didn't work at an ad agency because I knew it's not what I wanted to do. I didn't work at like a regular traditional like newsroom environment because it's not what interested me. Plenty could say I'm a lucky one. Like I have a job. I'm fucking lucky. But we in it. We still in it. Know what you're in it for. That's another important note. Know what you're in it for. Like, do you want 100,000 streams an episode? Do you want to get the huge Spotify deal? Like, do you want to just do this with the homies because you enjoy it? Do you want to just do it for your community? Do you want to just, you got to know where you stand at. You got to know what you're trying to engage with. You need to be the type of person that you want to see in the marketplace. Like, give us something that you're not seeing. Like, make the shit you want to listen to. For real, though. So, that's all the notes I have. So we can open this joint up to questions. We got a couple minutes, so let's talk that talk. Like, if you got something out of this, let me get a year in the chat. Let me get a year. Yeah, thank y'all. I hope y'all got something out of this, like for real. Also, shout out August Shop. I got their shit on right now. That's a Madison streetwear shop. But yeah, shout out Rob, shout out the whole team.
Sure is. They're those retail businesses are having to do a lot of pivoting too. So thanks for giving them a shout out because I know that they are in need of having their name out there. So that's cool. And thanks for Sarah dropping that in the chat. You guys can check them out if you're in Madison. They are open for business. So
shout out Dane County for still like paying me to do things. But no, Madison is like responsible for so much of my like artistic growth and my creative growth, and all the shit I'm doing now is prefaced by what I started in Madison, Wisconsin. So I can't thank them enough. I can't thank J School enough. I can't thank First Wave enough. I can't thank City Madison enough, period. Like the folks I've I've worked with, the community I made, engaged with, all.
Just ask kind of a silly question. You can unmute yourself if you have a question, or feel free to drop it in the chat as well. Sometimes takes a moment, but I'll ask my quick question. So you said you've done 20 podcasts. Do you have like someone you've always just dreamed of interviewing or sitting down and having that kind of intimate conversation like a podcast offers, that you would love to be able to interview?
I've been a fan of Tyler, the Creator, since Bastard. So like, I know like his interview style, like it's really not like, you don't really, I feel like we just had a really fucking raw conversation if he just like came through with like the, you know, just the open-minded thing. I feel like I give him the interview of his career. I also feel like I would give Travis Scott the interview of his career. Like, I feel like I get Travis Scott so intimately. Another person I've been listening to since Al Farrell, I feel like if he really pulled up and like just was open 100, like I could get to the root of what the hell's going on, because it's so big and confusing, and I love that shit. And I'm in like everyone else. I didn't get a Travis Scott meal. I only get nuggets from McDonald's for real. But like, I went to Astro World by myself. Like, come on now, like him too. Missy was a big one. That was crazy. That was crazy. I was like one of like 3 people that got like an interview that year, and I was definitely the youngest. And she don't give interviews for real, and she like she shared it. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy. Talking to Ree would be raw. I'll talk to Tom York too. Ree and Ariana,
Yeah.
just for the
Looks like you have a good list going. And I really hope you get a chance to have those conversations. That's awesome. This is going to go down to the bare bones here on this question. I did get a question in the chat privately. So can you just give a quick definition of the bare bones of what is a podcast?
Interesting. A podcast to me, I guess it's just a space. It's a space. It's a canvas for real. It's a place where dialogue can happen. It's a place where community can be built and fostered. It's a place where we can just have fun with this shit. It's really just a canvas. It's whatever you make it, for real, with the human voice. Like, that question's open. I can't really put a strict definition on that.
No, I think that's good. You know, it's a space in the airwaves where we can make connections and we can, you know, have something that we're used to seeing visual or talk shows, but then down to just the nitty gritty of our voices and sharing that space. That's awesome. So there's a little more clarification in that question. So like, oh, the question was actually, sorry, I was just trying to figure out as I was reading through there. The name of your podcast is Good Convo.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll put that down in the chat. So I think we have it earlier on, but we'll make sure we drop that down in the chat again, so people can listen to it, hear some of the stories that you've shared with others. That would be great. Oh yeah, there you go. So, well, I guess that will end our conversation today. There's no other other questions. Thanks for dropping that in there too, and all your other information. We really appreciate your stories and sharing that path that you've taken. It's always interesting to hear other stories so we can start to figure out, you know, and analyze what we want as we move forward. So I appreciate you giving everyone that information. I do want to remind everybody that we have a few more workshops coming up. We have a couple more workshop Wednesdays, only a few left till the end of our time here with this year. But coming up on Wednesday, October 21st, make sure you join us for transitioning to full-time art, or being an artist full-time. That's going to be by Tom Sweeney. Tommy Sweeney will be here giving us more information on that and sharing his story and his path. So that will be interesting to hear. We hope you join us. It will be live on Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel if you're not able to make it. You can find it on our website, dablmarket.com. Please make sure you head over to the Dane Arts website and sign up for their newsletter if you haven't yet. There is a lot of great opportunities. You can look for potential grant opportunities, learn what's going on in the arts community, and that's arts in all its forms, whether it's poetry, visual arts, dance, theater, history, cultural aspects of our state. So make sure, or in our county, make sure you sign up for that. And then all of this will be posted on our website, like I mentioned before. So that is all we have for you this evening. Thank you everyone for joining us. We do have about 2 more minutes. So if you do have a question and want to stick on, please do.